Righto, over the ditch. The forgotten man of Campbell's Comments is back. Bray, welcome back to Campbell's Comments, mate, and your first go at Over the Ditch. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm going pretty good. Paul, yourself?
Very, very well, mate. Good to have you back. And you've had a bit on lately. Yearling inspections for a start. You've had them going just recently.
Yeah, we're not quite finished yet. They've got probably another week to go, and then we'll have them all tidied up. So we would have seen 450 odd standardbreds, and the boys start today the selection for the thoroughbreds. So they've seen 1,800 thoroughbreds in the last 6 weeks too. So it's a busy time for us.
It's an amazingly busy time for NZB, full stop. For the standardbred people, yearling sales, their dates?
18, 19, 20, 21.
Yep. So,
yeah.
and there is a later.
So Auckland, obviously, the Sunday. We've got the trots of the Harness Million is the Friday night. We'll parade Saturday in Auckland, sale Sunday. We have a day off, an inspection day in Christchurch, and then we sell Tuesday, Wednesday in Christchurch.
And that Monday, there's an awards night with HRNZ as well. So it's still going to be very big. And everyone needs to plan to be in Christchurch that Monday because that's going to be a super. And I think it's a great idea, capitalising on the fact that everyone's going to be in, almost inspection modes and be able to go out and have a good time the night before a sale. So I reckon that's a great idea.
Well, it's a great opportunity too. Like the races, we celebrate the success stories. So same with the awards, we can celebrate the great success we've had for the year. And then turn around and buy the next success story.
You were recently, I'm going to come back to Gavel House. You were recently over at the World Trotting Conference, Cam. Firstly, how was that? And was it bigger than what you were expecting? I suppose a lot of people don't actually understand how big it actually is, how many countries get there. And I've had a fair bit of feedback from Paulie Rouse and a few of the guys over here. So I've got a little bit of an understanding. But how big actually was it?
It's reasonably big for a conference like it is. To be fair, a worldwide conference, and it's represented from pretty much all corners of the globe. Really, as you say, there's ourselves in Australia who went up. You have America and Canada, obviously. Then you have all the Nordic countries, and then so many of the European countries. So, in a lot of cases, some of the stuff that we're talking about is very sort of area specific. But there's so much good that comes out of it, just in the respect of relationships, etc., etc. I think my first conference, I can see the benefit that Australia have had, for argument's sake, have been at that conference for a long period of time and having some real consistency and continuity of people at the conference, whether you like them or not. They have done good for your country as far as harness racing on the world stage. A lot of people don't agree with the conference and people going and representing them, but ultimately it is a worldwide business. For New Zealand argument's sake, we do have a number of good horses in Australia, in America, in Canada, and if we want to grow our business, we have to go to places like these and talk to the Swedish and the French, and and when we talk about our industry here, which is in decline. I think we can quite comfortably say that throughout Australasia. You talk to countries like France, who their industry is completely stable, twice the size of the thoroughbred industry in their same country. They are absolutely flying. So there's a lot of things we can learn from these people. And if you don't go and build relationships and talk to these people and listen to these people, you're never going to do it.
No, and there's also the flow-on effect that a lot of the Kiwis would have been just recently watching Just Believe, Elder Baron Zeus. There's talk of a couple of others. A lot of those trips are facilitated through relationships that have been made years in
100%.
before
100%.
To make it easier. Night Pistol and those horses, of course, they travelled back in the day because got travel sick, didn't know where to go. They had to build their relationships on the run. These relationships are in place. Greg and Jess and Lils and Puppet may not have known all the people that they were going to meet, but those people knew who they were, but also were only a phone call away, so they knew how to help them. So that makes a big difference as well.
Oh, 100%. And when we work as a collective world body, we can achieve so much more, in as far as integrity issues, because integrity issues that are happening in our part of the world may have already played out in say, the Nordic states or in the US or France or wherever. So unless you actually go and have every other industry I've ever been involved in has these, and use them as great learning tools and ways to information share. Andrew Grierson's going up just recently for the Equine Vets conference in Hong Kong. You've got to do these things. We're a governing body of a world organisation. It's a worldwide business, and I think it's very, very worthwhile.
One of the things I remember Duncan talking to, I think it was Duncan I was talking to when he came back last year, and like the swabbing procedures and things like these lines, being able to learn. One of the countries use sniffer dogs more than swabbing horses. Sweden. They use sniffer dogs, so you don't go to the swab box. You have a sniffer dog, and good luck if the dog goes off.
Yeah, 100%. There's a number of different, and just like we talk about social license, the social license aspect of what we're putting up with here in our countries, probably more around the integrity and doping, etc., like that, are probably second or third on the list when you go to places like Finland and Sweden and Germany, because it's 100% solely about the whip.
Yep. Yeah, and that's another grey area for us.
So like it just shows you like different parts of the world, different. There was a discussion over. I think it was last, not this current running, but the year previous of the not the Hamiltonian, the international trot was won by the Italian horse 12 months ago, or driven by the Italian driver, and because of New Jersey being one of two states left in America that you can actually take both reins by one hand and really get going. There's certain countries now no longer take the racing from America as a result of that.
Yeah,
one race.
I think they've since changed that, because watching the other day was very different, and I think most of the countries...
I think they have modified the rule. They definitely haven't changed the rule. They've modified it slightly, because they're still obviously the way that the USTA and America's made up. It's sort of all the different states, much like your country probably, and the different rules for different states.
I will say one thing as an Aussie watching. I think as a whole, obviously some people are going to, but I think you Kiwis whip action is outstanding. But I reckon it's been outstanding even since I was a kid. Like I'm 50 now, but I can remember just watching some of the greats come across. There was like Tony Hurley. He was one of the first blokes that you just didn't see ever really getting up a horse. He used to come across here and just, he used to call the Iceman for that reason. I think it's very different. I think, but that's been honest. It's not, not because I travel across there a lot. I think the New Zealanders as a whole, your whip action is outstanding. I think Australia is getting better. When you start doing what I do and you start watching it, you watch the overseas racing, it does make a, you do sort of watch a few things there. So, no, I think... Well, I
remember, just touching on that, I remember watching a story on Dexter prior to him going to America. I think I might have done it with Greg O'Connor or somebody, and they went back to his early driving days when he might have been a bit keener with the whip, and when he really took off, he very rarely uses it now.
And that's what they've worked out. It's as much about balance now as what it is about how hard you can hit a horse. Back in the, I've seen some horrific. I know Mari's Idol. Everyone says, "I wish we saw more footage of Mari's Idol." Problem is, they were using canes back then in the day, and it's horrific when you watch some of the whip actions of some of the drivers back in that day and age. It's come such a long way, and it's as you say, social license. We have to be.
Well, you know what? One of the greatest races, I reckon, and this is just a thoroughbred code too. You go back to our Waverley Star, Bone Crusher, and and look at those two, and I don't think they improved an inch by them getting flogged like they were. But that was the time. We've moved past it. I know the thoroughbred code have been pretty good about how they've managed it, because it's won so many strides for every so many strides, I think.
Yep.
And then within the last X amount of metres, they can sort of get into it with it.
Yeah, no, definitely. But they're, as you say, they've probably been a bit slow to react. Harness racing has reacted a long time ahead, so we've don't get the social repercussions as what they do. So and now they're in a position where they're trying to ban the whips altogether, and that's causing a big stink. But anyway, Cam, we could talk about these things forever. It's just good to get a little bit of insight, and of course the World Drivers' Championships were on over there at the same time, and albeit Blair didn't top. You know, he didn't run in the top 5. Neither did the Aussie Pete McMullen. But great experience, and it was good to be able to get some of the footage eventually once we found out where to find the footage and be able to watch them. And I reckon going forward, I know how it changed Chris Elford. I think it's just a huge opportunity for people to take into these series and take on the best in the world, and it's good. Most of the countries, I think the Americans don't take it as keenly, but everyone else are very, very keen to send their best drivers and represent their country in the best way they can.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's particularly the Americans, because just a different structure up there in America, and the time of year just doesn't probably lend itself to be a great time for probably the best drivers in America to be away for that period of time. I think it was a similar respect, but there was a French driver that was invited to, but he couldn't attend, which was mind-boggling. He's a trainer driver in France, has 300 horses in work, and just could not spend the 10 days or whatever it was away travelling with the world drivers. So he said he would have loved to have been there, but he just can't do it. So yeah, it is a bit of a challenge for some of those things, but that was a mind-boggling stat. And yeah, I think the footage was tricky because it was raced over 3 countries, because of just the location of Germany and the pool of horses they have just makes it a little bit trickier. So I think they were in Austria at one stage, I think, and somewhere else, Belgium, I think it was, prior to coming back to Germany. And it's going to be much the same in 2 years' time when they come to New Zealand. We will end up having to probably share the World Driving Championship with Australia, just to try and get the number of heats, the number of horses all in.
Cam, before we get talking about the New Zealand racing last week, and we're going to highlight some of the runs, I just want to point, I found these yesterday, and they did come up. Anyone who enjoys their American racing, I've got it up there on the screen now, especially with the Little Brown Jug, and you can't watch it live. I actually found out how you can watch the Little Brown Jug series live. So this is a word that does my head in, Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association. If you want to watch the Little Brown Jug live anytime, probably the time difference for you guys might be a bit tricky. Google and YouTube that channel. There's also another 2
Friday morning, isn't it?
Yeah, but they race all the time. They were racing yesterday, and I was able to find the footage, and it's live on YouTube. There's 2 others there. Cam can't see this, unfortunately, but Rideau Carleton Raceway live, and also Flamborough Downs is the other one. They were 3 channels that I found live on YouTube. So if you enjoy your American racing, but you miss out on seeing the horses, the beauty of those 3, and anything like this goes up on YouTube, it can be watched in replay. So even if you want to watch it, I was looking yesterday for some of the results for Woodlands for a couple of their horses, and I found it, and you can watch all 15 races. The entire coverage is there, so you can watch all of the build-up. So if a horse does run an amazing time, you can go there and watch it, and it is brilliant, that one. So I just thought I'd give a heads up on that. I know I put it up last night on my Talking Trotters show, and I got text message from about 4 people saying thank you. So I think it's one of those things we need to do as well, getting that coverage out there. Might be a simple thing, but YouTube is there, and it's a great beast, just people don't use it enough, I don't think, anyway. So, yeah. Rightio. Cameron, now, put your NZB hat back on, and Gavel House. We're always about the good sale results, and we're going to end up on a good sale result as well. But not all the time everything works to plan. Sometimes horses don't sell, and sometimes you have to go to Gavel House, I suppose, get the horses broken in. I don't even know if this horse was broken in. But Artis Express, the winner of the Hanlon just recently, is a Gavel House success story, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I suppose I think we sold it as a yearling from memory. It was during COVID.
So did it go through NZB sale? No,
I don't think so. I can't. I haven't worked it out. I'd have to go look. I don't think so. It was during COVID. We sold a guy who was a good client of ours down in Milton, South Otago. Glenliddy, all the Glenliddy horses that were his breed. Peter Grant. He decided to have a bit of a realisation of his portfolio, and we sold a number of horses for him through that COVID period. And a man by the name of Mike Tanner come along, and I remember selling the first horse to him and looking up the results, and it made a wee bit of money. And going, oh Christ, we sold this to a guy in Canada who I've never heard of. And I looked up his addresses in the middle of the town. I'm thinking, oh, we're in the shit here. bugging me. He got an email the next day. He'd paid and then he set off a bit of a chain reaction where he bought quite a few horses off us all in a row. So he bought that horse, who was originally called Glenletty Express, changed his name to Artie's Express, bought its mother, who was in foal with a foal to it, all through COVID. He's been a great supporter, Mike, for the last few years, and it's great to see him get some of that success now, and especially with the story where that horse went amiss last year, I think, and had to be put aside. So it won the Southern Oaks, and then I think 2 years ago, and then I think it did go amiss for a period of time. So it's great to see it come back, and great to see it now get a start in the New Zealand Cup.
Yeah, you win and you're in. It was a good race. Very, very trying conditions, I suppose, is the best way to put it. But I've got the video playing now. I forgot I had the actual video, but Timmy handed up behind Republican Party. Sorry?
For those that know the area, I think Martin Pearson, the great man Martin Pearson, was telling me he got to Tynwald and it was 20 degrees, 22 degrees or something. Got to Washdyke, which is only half an hour down the road, was 10. So just shows you the day had deteriorated.
It deteriorated quickly. I reckon in my video I'm still a lap out, because this was how far was this race over, Cam? I can't. 2,600. No, this is the last one, because it gets up the sprint lane here to beat Republican Party. Republican Party was good. Anything goes. Got home nicely as well from back in the field. I think Mark Purden, I don't think I'd be talking out of school, had a little bit of an issue seeing, because he had the customary head carriage very low when you're trying to use the peak of your hat to get you out of trouble. But just a good story, and as you said, Cam, win and you're in. Telfers have got 2 runners now, BD Joe and Artie's Express, already into the New Zealand Cup, so they're going to have a strong hand in it, which is going to be super exciting in November, mate.
Very good. It's good for the race too, it's a bit more of a build up to it. It's good to see. It's a great time of year. We're now into the second stage of this build up. There's plenty to go, and it does make it exciting when you see horses like, even up north, which we'll highlight later, horses like Copy That and starting to step out. There's talk of Rock and Roll Do making the payment. Captain Ravishing making the payment for the New Zealand Cup too. So yeah, it's a great time of year.
I will say Rock and Roll Do is definitely not coming to the New Zealand Cup because of the Inter-Dominion. So I'd say that might be why Captain Ravishing might be thinking about coming over. I don't know. But we'll say with Rock and Roll Do, Mick Stanley, the Grins is definitely still on the radar. So we've got to remember that will come up, the $1 Million Grins, which is a lead up to the Weanling sales and
the Auckland Cup.
Yeah, it's a big lead up. So he'd probably stay over for that. So people with slot holders, keep an eye on the Maryborough Cup Len Smith Mile winner. His run on returning was outstanding. I think he ran his last quarter win in 25.8 wide around Melton. They don't do that at Melton. They don't do it at Cambridge. So he's that sort of horse that can put his hand up there as well. So I'm not on a kickback or anything, Cam, but I'll just put him out there that he is a horse that is an exciting horse, albeit things went awry last time. I know Mick Stanley and the team have well and truly learnt from that. So he's super exciting. And the race by Grins isn't that far away either. Right, okay, we're going to go.
It'll roll around quick. It will roll around quick, I can tell you.
Absolutely, and we'll be selling weanlings, and that's the best sale for the year. Not necessarily for horses sold, although plenty of good horses have been sold out of that, including Copy That.
Well, you can probably make a very good argument. It is probably one of the better sales, because probably when you look at the size of catalogue and the quality of horse, it does perform pretty well.
It does, but it is the sale to go to because it's just such a great atmosphere. It's a good carnival. It's undersold. We sell a lot of these carnivals, rightfully Kaikoura, the New Zealand Cup Carnival. This is another carnival, and it's just so much fun to be at. And it's a lot of fun. Stay at the Hilton, enjoy the festivities, go and purchase a horse, go to the races. So much fun to have there. So it is a lot of fun. Right, Cam, we're going to go back to Auckland. I'm hopefully going to have Rani. Rani hasn't got back to me, so hopefully Rani's going to come on and he'll tick off on Addington and Oamaru with me. He's got some good news there, so that part's fine, although Cam and I are going to touch on one, so we'll get it both ways. Rani gets himself a bit busy, Cam. He's works for Paul Nan, so he was going to come on yesterday. And I said to him, so we're good for tomorrow, and I still haven't heard from him. So throw him under the bus while he's on here, but he'll be fine. We've got other news as well, but that's okay. Mate, we're going to go back to Auckland, as I said, on Friday night. Christopher Dance for Logan Hollis and Shane Robinson. Okay, we had a little technical issue, but we're just starting to talk then, Cam, about Christopher Dance. So, firstly, copped an ordinary check early on. Young horses going into the first turn pretty solid. Those things sort of happened, but it looked like it was all over for Logan. He was going to be in a nice position. Then he gets bumped back to last. But the finish of this horse, just outstanding, wasn't it?
Oh, went huge. And to be fair, one thing we probably do need to highlight is what a great strike rate the boys do have at getting 2-year-olds up and going. Like, if you went back and looked at probably the early 2-year-old races over the last few years, Logan and Shane are generally there or thereabouts at just about every running of it. So again, they've done a great job here. Who was incredibly tough and very probably mature for his age to get up off the canvas, done what he's done, and then win the way he has is quite impressive.
Yeah, by Sweet Lou. Sweet Lou had a fair week, actually. Anyone watching Confederate and that, he had a fair week. But he went absolutely enormous, that little horse. Found the line terrific. And we talk about the whip. It looks like Logan's only using both the reins. There was no whip involved as well, getting him to the line, which was very, very impressive, I thought. So he was a nice horse. Vincent doing a good job.
Do you know what else was a good thing about that, Paul?
What's that?
Weanling sale horse.
Is he really? He was a woodland gate.
He's a weanling. Sweet Lou Wheeling sale horse from the 2021 Wheeling sale, paid $8,000 for it. So look, there you go. He's worth a considerable amount more money now.
Absolutely. Vincent second, doing a great job, getting plenty of winners again now. An Art Major with Jahai, I will go with for the Renwicks, coming in third. 2-year-old trotters, Cam, and they started stepping out the other day as well. The Moonstone for Nicky Chilcott's a lovely horse. This debut of Matty White's might go pretty good, I would say. Paramount Kiwi, even though it was only a small field.
Yeah, it was a tough win from the horse. You know, Matty's set pretty on the horse, and again, it went to the line well. I'm just thinking about this now. I see the family. This is another one of the Brian West family, stud-owned bloodstock family. So again, it was a $40,000 purchase from the sales. So again, that's incredibly increased its value, and it's a half to Paramount Gigi, Paramount Queen, all them. So it's a great family, great Muscle Mountains family.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Had a pretty good week, Father Patrick. As I said, I'm going to be talking to Rani. Yeah. There was a horse called Moses, beautifully named Moses by Father Patrick. Had its debut for the Duns at Oamaru and was very, very impressive as well. So some very good winners there as well. Little horse I did want to highlight, Cam, a horse called Sweet Oliver, Stephen Doodle. I don't know Stephen. Hey?
Stephen Doody from down in the Manawatu. Yeah, so he's travelled north with that horse by career team. It wasn't very fancied in the market, and it behaved itself and did the job right and got the chockies. And when we looked at it, I think it's by career team, isn't it?
Yep.
So I had a look up. So he's had 31 starters this season for 18 winners career team. He's doing a super job.
Yeah. Looks very, very quiet.
That's an NZ, obviously.
No,
yeah.
Is that only an NZ?
Yeah.
Well, he's doing a huge job, because I know he's doing the trotting show. When you go through it, I reckon he'll be having close to one a week, maybe one a fortnight at least, since I've been doing the trotting show, because I go through every winner, and he is doing a very, very good job. That's only in Australia. I didn't do the results last night in New Zealand. So but only had its fourth start, 4-year-old mare, but very professional and got the job done. Won't be its last win.
No, he does a good job, Stephen. When he brings them north, he's in with a chance,
Yeah. Next one I want to highlight, all cashed up. Of course, here he is outside the leader going to the front for Crystal Hackett. He's a troublesome horse, this horse. Maybe a bit of a forgotten horse in the trotting ranks. So, Cam, if they can get him back to his best, this horse, he is very, very good. And he looked to be on his best behaviour the other day for Michelle and Bernie. Yeah, well,
there's probably... there's very few of those here in New Zealand, the ready cashes, and the distance probably suits him a bit better, I think. A lot of those French bred horses do like a bit more ground, and again, if they get him back together, he will be a force to reckon with. He overcome the 45 metres the other night, so yeah, he's a horse to watch.
Little footnote on that horse, because he did end up over there. I think it was Grin's time, actually. He came across there as well for the Roe Cup and a couple of the other races. He's a lovely horse. He is a colt though, and the last two Redwood Carnivals, he's actually got hurt in the stalls, both
Oh, yeah.
occasions. So including this last time, and he did race this time, but he took a fair bit of bark off the inside of his leg. I think if they can keep him sound and sane, and when I say sound, I don't think he has lameness issues. It's more not getting hurt. That'll be the difference to that horse. He's it's not one of the stats anyone wants to know about. That's for sure, because he's just a little bit rude in the stalls, and the Maryborough stalls are low, and he tends to kick up over the top of them both times. So hopefully, for everyone involved, they can keep him sound and safe, and they could have a fair bit of fun. That's for sure. Going through there, the Neville Fillies and Mares race series was up. This is a very, very impressive horse for Zachy Butcher, mate. 2 from 2. Mantra Blue. The race changed a little bit of complexion, if you like, with Ideal Delight galloping on the home turn. It was the second time she'd galloped in the race. Kahlua Flyby, they were a proven horse over here and in New Zealand as well, down the outside. But Mantra Blue, she's a real deal, I think, mate. She knows where the line is too.
Tough. She was tough, wasn't she? She's incredibly tough. And to tell you, it's probably one of the best. Just looking at it again on Sunday, you had Treacherous Gal, one down there, her heat of the Nebelier. Like it's a great series. It's going to be probably one of the better editions of the series. So look, I think that'll culminate on Cup Day. So look, I'm really looking forward to that. Another great series, some nice horses going round. Funnily enough, with your green shirt, you got your green shirt on there by Sweet Lou. So doing a super job.
Well, I was actually just looking at the breeders of the results, and Woodlands bred the first 2 horses. I would imagine they were both sales graduates, both those horses. But Martin Pearson, the third horse, Penny Black, being by Sweet Lou as well. But Martin Pearson, he's becoming one of the Leviathan breeders at the minute, Cam. He's having a good run.
He's having a great run. We'll touch off on his other special runner there later on. But he's a guy who's been breeding a number of horses for a number of years. Probably sad thing about it is he's probably just reduced his portfolio considerably just because of how tough the game has got. And then bugger me, look what happened. So just shows you it's a tough business, but it is rewarding when it all sort of lines up.
It is indeed. Hawkeye
Pierce.
Hawkeye Pierce, he is racing for Thursday night in another of those size races. Cam and I may not touch on that one. We've got another one we've got to highlight, but don't forget his race in there. So good luck, Martin, and everyone else who is involved. Junior drivers race, Cam, I wanted to highlight this one because we need to look after the juniors. KD Royalty and Lee Hibble for Nicky Chilcott. I didn't have the name up, but I did got the jockeys. We need more juniors in the game, mate. We've got to keep highlighting these races, that's for sure.
More juniors in the game, it's probably pretty tough for those guys up north, just with probably the state of the horse population. So it's great to see they're getting a go. Katie Royalty, by probably one of the most underrated sires in New Zealand and Royal Aspirations, does a great job. So that horse there would have picked up the Kiwi bred bonus, which is a great week kick for the owners, breeders. And the horse did come from a long way off him too, so he was pretty good in the running. So I think all in all, it's probably the greatest result of the night, really, when you think the breeders had a wee bonus, the New Zealand sire, and a junior win. So what more do you want?
Lee's had 105. I presume this has been updated straight away. 105 drives. That's win number 7, 13 seconds, and 18 thirds. I'm sure that's frustrating him a little bit, but that's terrific and good to see. And I believe I saw one. There's another, might be one on Friday coming as well. Luck Chin had 2 horses in that. I see that finished out the back, but that's okay. The last race we're going to highlight from Auckland, Cam, was a much spoken about. What was it called? The Lazarus at Neville Stud, and copy that was your very short favourite. He was in front. And he got run down, but it was no disgrace. 54-6 and 27-1. He's got own terrific, but Hooray Henry just had different ideas, mate.
Yeah, and probably, I think I read somewhere about copy that Ray said he's just probably a little bit, he's a bit forward at the moment. So he's early on in his prep. So, but take nothing away from the winner. Hooray Henry was good. He was tough, by Auckland Reactor. He hit the line well, and, he went super really, and that'll be a real achievement for the Butchers. They've knocked over a 2-time New Zealand Cup winner, so nothing to be sneezed at there.
No, I'm sure. And knowing the Butchers, they enjoy they definitely enjoy themselves. They would have enjoyed that win. They would have been pretty cock-a-hoop about it. That is for sure. Invercargill, mate, on Friday was possibly, well, wasn't possibly, was the lesser meeting of the two, but a couple of little ones I want to highlight here. The win of Steve, one of the great names. I love that name. I can't believe it's just a horse called Steve, but a trotter. And then Mr. Cashman for Oliver Kite, bringing up a double. He's a young man I met for the first time when I went down there. There's got to be a great thrill for the young man.
Yeah. He's been in it a wee while, Oliver. I remember being involved in the Cadet of the Year a couple of years ago. He was through there. I think he still works for Nathan Williamson.
Yes.
He's a great young fella.
Yep.
Good young fella. So, no, congratulations to him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Brings up a double. That was actually one of the other junior driver races, so which was on. There's been a few of them. So, yeah, and I would imagine that's probably good planning, because I would have thought a lot of the better drivers would have headed to Addington that night as well. And then Karen Tomlinson, she brought up win number 100 with Classic Mission for a start. This was actually a pretty impressive win. Take away what the highlight of the race was, but Karen getting the chockies with his horse down the outside, very, very impressive win, I thought.
Yeah, no, she's done a great job. She's been at it a good wee while, and congratulations to her on the 100. It's a real achievement for her. And like you can see now, I think they've released, was it yesterday, I think, or the day before. So we have the Macmillan Junior Driver Championships is all due to kick off in the next wee while. So it's all a great time of year. It's good to see these young guys having the success.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys and girls, I should say. Guys and girls.
Yeah, absolutely. And Karen's stats are there on the screen as we speak. She's had 1,488 drives for 100 wins, 103 seconds and 131 thirds. Those thirds would get frustrating. I said it there before. When you've got more thirds than wins, it'd be frustrating. She's won over $1 million in stakes, and a UDR is 1.3. So she's doing a great job, and congratulations. I think it's a great effort. And it must be hard down the bottom of the South Island as well, to get a lot of drives and get your way into the game as well, Cam.
Oh, well, yeah, because it's by nature of the way the pool of horses work. They sort of race once every 7 days in that part of the world, and they do have a period of time off in the winter. So to do it, she's going to have to be doing some travelling, or those guys doing some travelling. So, yeah, it's a great achievement for them, and wish them all success for the future.
No, absolutely. Now, Cam, I am hopefully going to have Rani on, but we are going to highlight one other race, and that was at Addington on the Friday night. Coney Island Lou for the Dalgettis. This is a nice horse with a good future, that's for sure, but it was a very, very impressive win, taking out the size stakes, one of the other size stakes, which I think the finals of those are going to be New Zealand Cup week as well, are they not?
Yes, off the top of my head, yes. So it's Cup week, yes, Cup week, yeah.
This horse, he had the cold sit, but got the job done. Another of the Sweet Lou's getting the job done, but this horse beat Triple G, Double Time, Blue Toe, Watermelon Sugar. Like, this is a good field of horses, and he won very, very comfortably in the end.
Yeah, he won like a good horse too, at the end of the day. And again, highlighted, I think the bloke probably smiling the most in that photo afterwards was the Minister for the New Zealand Sire Stakes Board, Martin Pearson, who again bred this horse, Coney Island Lou. Sold it at the sales to the Congertons from WA for 40,000 at sales, and they've obviously now syndicated the horse, and they're having a great run. It's great to see, and great to see, as we said, highlighted there before, a breeder who's been at it a long time, probably hasn't seen a horrific amount of success, and he's starting to reap the benefits of years of hard work. So, congratulations to them, the connections, and to the Dalgettis.
I think I've done, this is the third edition of Over the Ditch, and Martin's featured 3 times, albeit twice today, but he has featured in three of the, which is terrific, as I said. And that's what I want to do with this show, is try and highlight some of the others as well going forward. Cam, thank you. Yearlings and everything, just people can get in touch with you through NZB is the best way with their yearling inquiries, and starting to, once the catalogue comes out, getting involved with that, that's be the best way. Keep an eye out on Gavel House. Is Gavel House up at the minute, or is it the week off?
It'll go live Tuesday night.
Okay, very, very good. So plenty going on. Mate, thank you for joining me. Really really appreciate it. You won't be a stranger to the show. You are very busy though, so you sort of give me the flick from time to time, but I really appreciate you joining me, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Right, Rani Hammond joining me now. Firstly, Rani, welcome back again, mate, to Over the Ditch. Thanks for joining me, and big show today with Bray kicking it off at the start, but great to have you back on.
Yeah, no, good to be on, Paul. Yeah, really good to be back after a pretty hectic and busy week of harness racing.
Been an amazing week of racing. Cam and I touched on the Auckland race and some great little trotters. Paramount Kiwi, a 2-year-old, like from you guys being with Paul Nan, of course, the trotting stable. Nice to see these 2-year-old trotters starting to step out. It's getting exciting, and there was a couple of nice ones stepped out at Addington. We might start straight off at Addington, mate, and we might start off really with one of the most impressive runs for the week, I would have said, in Wilma's Boy for Bobby Buck. How impressive was this horse?
Yeah, Wilma's Boy was really impressive, I thought. I thought, to be honest, when I was watching it, I thought, oh my goodness, he's gone really, really early, but far out. What an impressive run. He's just left the field for dust and no one could really catch up to him.
No, it's by tactical landing out of Wilma's mate, who was a nice enough horse herself. Yeah, by tactical landing and had its first start. Times weren't scarily good in Australian terms, and I say that because we do cover both sides. That's what the show is about, Over the Ditch. But in New Zealand, a 2-year-old trotted a trot 2-2 over the 2,000 metre journey. That's as quick as 2-year-old trotters run at this time of the year, isn't it? I know that we'll hot up, come Christmas time, but right about now, that's about as quick as they go.
Yeah, it was very, very quick. And Wilma's Boy won by nearly 9 lengths, I think. So pretty impressive against that field.
Yeah, and just looks a nice style of horse. I say that you work with the Paul Nan camp. Did Paul say anything about the horse?
About Wilma's Boy?
Yeah.
No, he just mentioned how great the broodmare was.
she is, and I actually have done a couple of discussions over here with I did a show last night actually talking trotters, and there's a few people that are very keen on her because her breed bloodlines is over here as well in a mare called Charlotte Galleon and a couple of others, so it's pretty impressive as well. The next one we want to highlight, and we're going to stick with the Bob Butt, just so that you do know which way we're going. Is Gold Bullion for Bob Butt. 2 minutes, this horse trotted 58.1 and 28.8. She's a horse that's always shown plenty of ability and really looks like she's putting it together now, mate.
Really, really impressive effort, I thought, against the field that is. It's not an entirely blunt field. They're quite sharp horses, I thought. Obviously, out of my way, I see every day of the week, and he's no slouch, and neither are really anyone in that field. So really impressive.
No, 5 starts now, 3 wins, 27,000 in stakes, and the way it's finding the line, it's definitely not the last win. There'll be some nice races towards the end of the season. It might be not taking on the big boys yet, but another full year of racing. It's going to be a horse's name that we'll be able to look after. He's only a 3-year-old gelding. There is actually a race called the Derby towards the end of the season, so you never know. I'm going to try and catch up with Bobby at some point in time if I can, and get a chat with him because he's got a good team around him. He had a pretty good couple of days, actually. He won a race on Sunday, which we'll touch on in a minute as well. But, he had a pretty good week.
He had a fantastic week, and, definitely worth touching on that one later on.
Yeah, it is indeed. What we might do, we'll stick with the trotters, Rani. Sunny Sister for the Dunn camp. This is a horse I saw a little bit of. She's shown a lot of ability when I was over there last year. She just did a few things wrong, started to get the writing on the wall. Then I think she got a little bit crook or something when she went up north. But she is Sunny Sister's little sister, but she's probably not quite in his category just yet. But she's starting to really, again, another horse starting to get a really nice resume up.
Yeah, I think she's just getting better and better as each time we see her, which is actually kind of scary. You sort of saw the blueprints to what looked like Sunday's Sun, especially when she first started, especially up the straight. She was sort of trotting exactly like him, and now she's really pulling off these fantastic efforts with a driving style that we've obviously seen before.
Yeah, and very aggressive. He's gone from nursing her, I suppose. Johnny Dunn, of course, we talk about, but nursing her he's aggressive now. Like, I mean, I showed that video. Basically, he just crossed to the lead, but he took off with intent. He was always going to cross and lead. There was no worries there, wasn't it?
No worries at all. And I think that sort of suits a horse like that. Sort of suits John Dunn, I think, in the way he sort of drives, especially at the Met. So it's really impressive for a filly like that to be able to sort of improve as she has, considering where she was maybe at the start of the season to where she is now. It's the difference is, to me, night and day.
Yeah, she's very, very exciting horse. And as I say, well, she's a 3-year-old filly. So again, she'll be looking for some of the other races. I don't know if they'd be contesting the Derby or anything like that with her, but there's some really nice races coming up over the summer carnival, which would be really exciting for her.
Yeah, really exciting. One horse in that trot that I was actually quite impressed with and I thought hit the line probably better than anyone else was What's Wanted.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic, a fantastic run.
Yep.
I don't know the sectionals and what happened there, but far out, it looked blistering.
2 minutes 0.1, 59.2 and 29.6 home. And it looks like the sort of horse that's been owned and bred, trained and driven all by the Tomlinsons. So good little story. And a trotter that I spoke to Cam Bray a little bit earlier. He mentioned creatine. His stats are scary in New Zealand, but I think even here in Australia, I do a trotting show every Monday night, and you very rarely go without sort of mentioning creatine in the winner's circle. He's doing a good job. There is some nice trotters really stepping up at the minute, which is super exciting for the gate. And creatine is definitely one of those. Actually, all three of those horses, What the Hill, creatine, and Majestic Sun, seem to feature week in, week out, and it's really cool to see, and it is good for the gate and super exciting. So many people starting to get about them. The other one that, of course, this week that did impress was Father Patrick, and we will get onto that. There's another beautifully named horse by Father Patrick that we will touch on, but Coney Island Lou took out the Woodland Stud Size Stakes Series for Crown and Chrissy Dalgetty and Carter in the cart, bred by Martin Pearson. Cam Bray and I did touch on this horse as well just before, but very, very impressive and a win and a little bit of a good story. Got up and beat Johnny Dunn in the last stride, but you know a little bit about this horse, mate, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I talked to Carter the other week as I sort of asked, what was sort of happening for them, and he said that it could be in a bit of a tough, it could be a tough race for it, a tough outing in a way, but with the way Carter drove, put it in a really nice spot early, and it just sort of was able to unleash at the line.
Yeah, it was, and there's some nice horses. Like I know Triple G down by the seaside. It's a horse that's they've got a very big opinion of that in a good camp. Johnny Dunn, the likes Double Time Bluto. I saw that horse firsthand when I was over there last, and he is a really, really nice horse as well. So I don't think that was a average field by any stretch. There's some nice horses in that race. Again, 3-year-olds progressing forward. So really exciting time. We saw about all the fast class horses, and we saw a copy of that and those going through. We had Artie's Express getting the golden ticket, and we'll touch on him in a sec. But the 3-year-olds and 2-year-olds are, I think what we all look forward to, and it's super exciting at the minute in New Zealand. Yeah,
it's really exciting, especially now that obviously we've said this for the last couple of weeks that spring's back and they're all starting to really come back, and you've got this build up to November, and it's really, really exciting. Well, less November, I think, and more December. I think for these ones, which is really exciting.
Yeah, exactly. A great end to the season, and there is a big build-up. We'll talk there about the New Zealand Cup, and of course, Artie's Express took out the Hannon, a race, time-honoured race, which was terrific, and there was a little bit of a story. Cam Bray actually spoke about this horse. It's a Gavel House purchase, but was able to step and win and stepped quite nicely. Every horse in that race stepped terrific. It's something from an Australian point of view we could have a look at, because they all stepped really well. I think vast majority of them, and it was a great race, very competitive. I've just scrolled back down to the last part of that, with Republican Party in front and Artie's Express and Timmy Williams sitting on its back. Very impressive win though, mate.
Yeah, really impressive win. I thought Republican Party, like you said, was really good and really really sort of brave in a way. But Artie's Express, just pure class.
Yep.
Just pure class.
There was an unlucky runner in it. Anything goes for Mark and Nathan Purd. And if you go back and watch the replay, just back at the top of the straight, Mark tried to go outside and he got blocked for a run. Whether he would have beat those other two home, I don't know. But the vision wasn't great as well for people there. So I think that made it a little bit trickier for Mark. But he is a horse to follow. The beauty of it, we say about the golden ticket, there's been three automatic entries into that. Mossdale Ben for the Hopes, Greg Nina. And Ben is through. BD Joe now with Artie's Express for the Telfers. And Stonewall Stud. So they're going to have a strong hand in it already without any other runners coming through and just being in good form at the time.
Yeah, I think they've probably had a little bit of an advantage by having a little bit of pressure through the winter. That some horses that we'll probably see get automatic entries soon haven't had. But I think those sort of horses are pure class again. Like, they're just pure class.
Yep, absolutely. It looked horrendous conditions. Again, as I said, I spoke to Cambrai. Martin Pearson went down there, and apparently it was 24 degrees half an hour out from the track. And it was 5 degrees or something when he got there and pouring rain and the like. So I don't think it was a very, very pleasant day. I'm going to stick with the 2-year-old.
Chase a Dream, Song Sung Blue is tickled along fourth, two-back Spirit of Anarchy. Shards Matrix stays the inside. The leader is Major Hot. Double Jeopardy moving up to give him the steer on the point of the home turn. Right behind the leader, Chase a Dream. Waits for the Diamond Creek passing lane. Major Hot tackled by Double Jeopardy. Major Hot, Double Jeopardy. They lead the way from Chase a Dream, but it's Major Hot digging deep. He's holding them at bay today, and Major Hot is going all the way. Major Hot, he breaks through today to win the Diamond Creek Farm Juvenile Stakes.
I believe won the Sapling Stakes at Ashburton recently, and I thought I really I hold that horse quite highly, and anyone that beats it, I almost have to hold highly as well. But Major Hot was pretty fantastic, I thought.
Yeah, you put Vessam and a few of those others. They've got a good team, Mark and Nathan. It's scary. It's starting to get to a bit of the Purden team of old, if you like, which for a few people is scary. We'll get back to the gate that you, one, enjoy and also have a pretty good association with. But I love the name of this horse by Father Patrick out of Love You Do It in Moses for the Duns. Having its debut run, wasn't it an impressive run? As I try to find the video, there we are there. Wasn't it a very impressive debut run from this, immature? It's having its first race start.
Yeah, I thought it was really impressive, actually, and there are some nice horses there. I think George Elliott is a nice type. I think he's hit the line pretty well, and will probably break his maiden pretty soon. And then ones like High Noon, I think it's just a matter of time and improving for. But Moses, wowee, on debut, that was fantastic. Yeah,
it was a little bit of a gap, I suppose, back to a few of those, which one could be the conditions as well. But you can only beat who's there around you, and you can only do the job. And Moses was good, and as I said, it's in a very strong camp. They're a strong pacing camp. They're a very, very strong trotting camp as well. They probably fly under the radar a little bit. I keep saying you work for Paul Nan, but the Williamsons and Nans, always known as a trotting stable. But Johnny Dunn just does an awesome job with his trotters, doesn't he?
He does an awesome job. You did right about that. I'm not sure if they'd necessarily fly under the radar, but I would definitely say they wouldn't be prominent for their trotting. They're definitely there for their paces because their paces are so outrageously good. But definitely like a quality trotting stable as well, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a quality horse racing stable.
Exactly, that's a good way of putting it. And they're good people. I like going down there. I get looked after very, very well. Always put morning tea on. I don't need any more food at the minute. I need to bloody start losing weight, so I've got to be careful. But no, they're always very, very good to me. We've actually got two more anyone wondering, we've got two more horses to highlight out of this, plus a couple other things that are coming up in the end of the week. But I'm sure you know a little bit about this horse winning the Jasmine's Gift fillies and mares stakes. We highlighted this race last week in the depth of the field. But Bobby Butt and Resolve, mate, what an impressive win.
Yeah, it was really impressive. Again, just like sort of on Friday, the way Bob left and sort of caught them napping in a way. I thought, oh, this is really early. This could be trouble. But there's sort of no worries in the way. I thought Galleon's Ambassador was really unlucky, to be honest with you. I thought really unlucky. I thought she was really unlucky. But wow, she almost made it into a staying test.
Yep.
I thought, and she just outstayed everyone else. So I thought it was really impressive, an impressive win. And one actually, I was feeding up and paused my feeding up to watch on my phone. My panic mid-race, though, when my phone froze. But that's something else. It was awful.
That can be one of the frustrating parts. You and I have had that happen last week to us, a technical issue. It does happen from time to time. You say there about Galleon's Ambassador for Johnny Morrison. I don't know whether it was going to beat Resolve or not, did get up alongside. But the name of the game is to trot. That's what you got to do. And unfortunately for Connections, that was the one thing didn't do. But great to see. Good purse first up, 22,000 stakes. So that's going to help Resolve along. What has Paul got planned for that mare?
Well, she's nominated for this season. She's nominated, I think, for the Dominion.
Yep.
I think that's where she's planned to go. May need some more slight and small improvement in places, but she's a pretty handy mare to have around, to be honest.
She's got 177,000 in stakes. She's won 9 from 36. Getting a great CV, and Paul does a very, very good job with these horses. These are the sort of ones we see come through a lot. Of course, out of the Habibti, so she's going to be a valuable brood mare when she retires as well. But yeah, he knows his way around a nice trotter, that's for sure, and he's doing an awesome job with this mare.
Yeah, sorry?
No, you're right.
No, I was just saying she's actually a really fun mare to be around as well. Like, she's just a fantastic mare to be around.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's got a lot going for her. Now, I keep alluding to the fact that we had Cam Bray on at the start of the show. Cam and I, we get sidetracked, and Rani can vouch for this because we started this. We're going to click it. I think we spoke for half an hour before we even started because we talk about a lot of things. But Cam and I were talking about the highs and lows, if you like, of buying a horse at the yearling sales and selling horses at the yearling sales and being an auctioneer and trying to, in Gavel House. We talked there about Artie's Express being a $30,000 purchase off Gavel House. And that starts next Thursday, or this Thursday coming, the next Gavel House and all the rest. But this mare, Treacherous Gal, just there in the picture, second last in the picture for Regan Todd and Craig Ferguson, didn't meet the owner's reserve at the sale, and I'd say he's well and truly been justified. She's a Captain Treacherous out of Galleon's Pleasure for Kennedys and Murdochs. Didn't meet the reserve, so they decided they'd keep her, and wow. She's a super, super exciting mare. I watched this race live and I said she'll win this. I was at Maryborough and I said she'll win it. Rani, you'd be happy with me. And then I'll say right about now, I'm thinking, I don't know, she is going to win it. I was going to look like a fool, but just a horse that knows where the winning post is and actually wants to get there.
Yeah, it was really nice and a pretty nice purse to take home from that as well. I think, the margin of half a length doesn't fully tell it. Would you agree?
Yep, definitely. Yeah, because she was closing late. It looked, like I think Craig was looking after her for the future. I don't think that's her last scalp. I think she's got plenty more. Of course, she's got to take on Millwood Nike, and that's always been a bit of her Achilles heel. But again, another mare that's got a very impressive record as I just wait for the computer to come up. I think her record itself is pretty impressive. I reckon if you took the runs away from that she was chasing Millwood Nike, so she's won 7 from 13 and 3/3, $100,000 in stakes. But yeah, chasing a mare like Millwood Nike quite regularly. But yeah, she's super exciting. She won down at Invercargill. She won on Diamond Star. I think it was a South Coast Oaks, I think is what they call it. Is that right? Southland Oaks?
I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head, but I was going to say, if your Achilles heel is Millwood Nike, I think you're okay.
Yeah, there it is. There, she beat Sweet Diamond on that occasion. She beats Artie by the Seaside. I'm sure the Stonewall team would be happier that she wasn't around. I'm just going to get the name of the race because, interestingly enough, Artie's Express Southern Oaks. It was the Southern Oaks is what that race was called. Arties Express won that same race the year before, and both horses won on the same day as well. So pretty big scalp to have. So that is terrific. Craig Ferguson does a great job driving, and I know Regan Todd really enjoys his company. Reggie's got a great team at the minute. He's another trainer, isn't he, with a good team of horses?
Yeah, he's got a really nice team. I thought, had a pretty nice winter. It'll be good to see how they go during the spring.
Yep, absolutely. I know Terry's left him. He's over here now, but he's still got a few others going through. A couple other little bookkeepings we've got to do. We've got to, well done to the guys with Blue September, up to 15,500 now. So well done to all of the ambassadors there. And this was what took you and I a little bit longer to work. And we'll be brutally honest, we're probably lucky we made a phone call just to clarify everything. But Mota Carrara race on the weekend coming up, and you can go there and support Blue September going from there. Now, this is the banner, and it says, enter by putting a gold coin into the entry slip, into the bucket, with the driver that you think will win the Blue Bolt. Fair to say we were a little bit shocked as to what the Blue Bolt was, weren't we, Ronnie?
Yeah, well, we what did we say? What did we say it was? There's a race on the card for Blue September invited drivers. We assumed it was that. We were pretty wrong. What it actually is a running race.
Yeah, so the last race gazetted for the Mott on Sunday. There is actually the Banks Peninsula Trotters Cup is on this week too, so that's an interesting race to see. Oscar Bonavina is there. So you got Andy Hall, Jimmy Carter, I Dream of Genie, Euro Cash, Mystic Max, Resolve, Time Up the Hill, Mataderos, another horse for the Duns, Oscar Bonavina, and then you've got a couple, Muscle Bank, Avaros Majestic, and Unico. I don't even know how you say that. Unico Vicenzo. Is that what we say?
Unico Vicenzo, yeah.
Wow, they just...
those three outside of race conditions will, I'd say, definitely be in.
Yep, so they're underneath the qualifying bracket, which is funny. It's something different we do over here. Anyway, so they race at the Banks on Sunday. Those noms, the fields haven't been done, have not been drawn up yet. But what we found out is that any of the 12 ambassadors, 11, because Dylan Ferguson won't be coming out, so they will be all driving in that race. But the Blue Bolt is a running race, and they've got to run it at Ranni, but there's even another kicker to that part of it, isn't there?
Yeah, well, my question is it handicapped or not?
Yes.
Because that changes things.
Yeah, no, it will be handicapped, so I reckon you wouldn't want to be having a pre-post bet because you might come unstuck. But yeah, no, it is. We can say that it is a handicap event, and the boys have got to run in tutus and leggings and a few other little bits of things. So it's a great excuse to get to the Banks on Sunday, that's for sure.
Oh, it definitely is. And Maddie Williamson, I'm definitely going to be excited to see in a tutu. I think he's going to look fantastic.
He will indeed. Blair Orange, Zach Butcher, Maddie Williamson, Johnny Cox, Todd Mitchell, Nathan Williamson, Corbin Newman, Robbie Close, Mark Harrell, Maddie White, and Rory McKillock. Now, you've already declared your winner, though. This is
yeah, I did. That was before I knew about the handicap. The handicap changes everything.
But come on, you're going to show your hand. I'll make sure everyone knows who you said anyway. But I'll let you say who you thought before handicaps.
I initially thought Matty White. He's winning everything at the moment, so why not?
Yep.
But with handicapping introduced, I think that does sort of change things, and I'm going Matty Williamson.
Go Matty Williamson. Because what are you thinking?
Why not?
So what sort of handicaps are you going to get? He's going to be up the front, is he?
I don't know. I think it's how would you work the handicap system?
Yeah, no, I don't know either. But yeah, could be very, very tricky. Good luck to the people at the time. I don't know who gets that job, whether it's a steward's job and there'll be stewards' inquiries or what else happens. But it's a great excuse to get to the Mott this weekend. And if you're well, I imagine non-participant, but if you're one of the people from the public and you do happen to get the opportunity, you win a double-seater sulky ride at Motucara on the 26th of November, one of the big meetings coming up on the grass track. Rani, I just got a bit quickly cheeky and just had a look at the Met this weekend, Friday night. Isn't there some good races coming up? What a ripping little trot race, the Mako Lodge Sire Stakes Classic for the 3-year-old trotting fillies, and it's exciting, some of the fillies that are around at the minute to have a look. The Ivy League crackling, walking on sunshine for Tommy Baggery, he's having a great run as well. Mavis Jones with the Hopes as well going through, so going to be a bit of interest in that race, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting race. I think the form is really starting to stack up in a way. I think there are horses in that race, there are fillies in that race that I'm likely to say will have a pretty strong chance at winning.
Yep.
If you'd agree with that, I think you've got to respect some of them just based on their last runs. There are some though that I think it's a little bit too soon, and they're coming off Sunday in Oamaru, and it might be a little bit too hard for them.
Yep. A mare like Crackling, like she's in form and doing it terrific. She stepped up against the older horses last start. She's back to her own age group this time, so going to be a good chance there for sure. I mentioned Tommy Baggery before, and we highlighted this horse as well a couple of weeks ago. The Crack is going around as well for Tommy, so that's exciting.
Yeah, really exciting. I don't have much to add, but it is really, really exciting for Tom. I think it's going to be a good chance to sort of see how it backs up its last race.
No, absolutely, and there's some nice races at Auckland. Montana DJ I just saw just there, but I'm just trying to find. That's the 2-year-old fillies Classic, which the likes of Kiss, Coastal Babe, go around. Arden's Memory is a horse I know they got a bit of a time for. Akatia I will go with for Stonewall Stud as well, so there's a good 2-year-old there, but also Copy That and the likes are in there as well, so good lot of racing coming up, Rani, that's for sure.
Yeah, really nice racing coming up soon.
Rans, thank you, thanks for joining me, mate. We'll get you back next week hopefully. Oh well, no, there's no guarantee next week. I'll just got to work out next week, but in 2 weeks time we'll be back, but look forward to catching up with you and get behind Blue September, mate, and enjoy them trotters.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me again, Paul, and really looking forward to a bit of Thursday racing for a change.
Absolutely. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thanks.